there Bagginsons and Boffins, Tooks and Brandybucks, Grubs, Chubs, Hornblowers, Bulgers, Bracegirdles, and Proudfoots. Today is the beginning of a new nostalgia trip where we go for a ride and ask the age-old question: do the games of our childhood hold up? Will the trip down memory lane be a good one? Or will it be something we won't be doing anytime soon? I'm your host Guaka, and today we're looking at the one, the only, the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. So grab your walking stick, you better pack some lemas bread, because we are starting off our Lord of the Rings adventure for the PS2 right here. Let's go, fellas. This damn game. So, fun fact, this game was the reason I actually found out that Lord of the Rings was actually a book series. I thought it was just a film series. When I was a wee little lad, I loved playing the freaking Return of the King game. It's actually still one of my favorite games of all time, and I still remember the day my big bro showed up and showed this game to me, saying, it's based on the book, not the film! It's more accurate! And for some reason, it activated the neurons in my brain, and I viewed this game as some weird lost media, amazing type of game. The game case itself really spoke out to me for some reason. Just having the ominous one ring on there and this like little blue background, I thought it was super duper epic for some reason. And I did play quite a bit of it. I wasn't super good, so a lot of the puzzles I found really hard, but I stole the controller from my brothers a few times when you get to play as Aragorn, so that was pretty sick. But you know, as always with Nostalgia Trip, maybe it won't hold up to my memory. You know, I remember the story and setting being so damn epic and expansive, but it could be different, and there's only one way to find out. So let's go for a trip, fellas.
Come on, Gandalf.
The story of Fellowship of the Ring is, well, the story of Fellowship of the Ring. It's one of the damn greatest fantasy stories of all time, a journey of Frodo going all the way from the Shire to Mount Doom. The Fellowship is the first third of the journey, covering the initial part of Tolkien's epic tale from the Shire up to Amon Hen. Now, I'm not going to sit here and discuss the whole last story and how amazing it is, because we'd be here a long time. But now being older and actually having read the books and watched all the films multiple times, how does this particular game portray the tale? It definitely tries.
That's not a good idea.
So first off, the game does follow the book pretty damn well, especially in the beginning. It often quotes the book word for word and isn't shy to take its time to set the scene, especially in the Shire. This I really liked. Tolkien's tale is definitely a slow burn, especially in the Fellowship of the Ring, and it builds into this huge climax at the end of the series, so having that slower pace was really great, and I love seeing some of the pages straight from the book be displayed in the game. I just love seeing how people display Tolkien's work. Can I also just mention the intro to this game, which has a rad as hell portrayal of the War of the Last Alliance? I don't know why, but this cutscene is just super cool. I absolutely love it, and it really sets up the game to be this dark kind of gritty adventure, and I was so hyped to freaking destroy the One Ring at the end of this. Since it is based off the book and not the films, the story does have a lot of information and changes that you might not be familiar with, and I definitely wasn't when I was a little kid. So when I watched the films, I was like, what the heck, this is a completely different story. But now I actually do kind of appreciate it to be quite different, because a lot of games for Lord of the Rings are just so immersed in Peter Jackson's version that it's kind of refreshing to see something a little bit different. You know, seeing Tom Bombadil, the moment where everyone agrees to be blindfolded before entering Lothlorien, and freaking Glorfindel showing up instead of Arwen. These moments are small and scattered, but I actually really did like seeing them animated in some kind of fashion. You know, it paces itself really well in the beginning. You know, you get this awesome beginning scene with Gandalf explaining Frodo what he has to do, and then you meet Sam and that's fucking Robin from Teen Titans, isn't it?
What are you doing at Bag End?
Nothing, sir. Trimming the grass under the window.
Unfortunately, after the Shire, the pacing of the game really picks up, and it goes from being like a nice slow pace to just breakneck speed, which kind of sucks, as I was enjoying the slower pace with more details, but I think this is probably due to the fact that developers were really trying to rush to get this out before more of the Lord of the Rings films came out, because they were going to be competing with New Line Cinema, so this is kind of a bit of a rush job, and it kind of sucks because you can see how good it was in the beginning, and if they had more time, the game probably would have been paced way better. Unfortunately, as a result of this fast pace, a lot of the cutscenes just absolutely do not have the intended effect that I think the developers were going for. Now, let's take, for example, Frodo's incident at the Prancing Pony, where he accidentally puts on the ring. It's supposed to be this huge moment of dread where all these people see it, and there's an immense panic and stress in Frodo as many people see this happen. But in the game,
And in a merry old inn beneath an old grey hill, and there they make a stew so brown that the man in the moon himself flew down at night to eat his fill.
Where did he go? Sorcery!
dangerous trick, that's all.
It is goofy as all hell. I will say though, some of the pre-rendered cutscenes are actually really sick. Like, look at this moment where Frodo puts on the ring at Weathertop. The ominous approach of the Black Riders just looks so sick. I wish more of these cutscenes were in the game, especially in the later parts, because we only really got 4 or 5 of these and it really sucks. In-engine, the cutscenes are just absolutely janky and awkward, and it does kind of make it enjoyable in a stupid B-grade movie kind of way. I mean, you know, if you love Fellowship of the Ring, you'll probably get a kick out of how goofy everything is and appreciate some of the references that weren't in the films, especially if you've read the book. But if you don't like Lord of the Rings, this will not be worth watching or playing unless you just want to laugh at how bad it is. But damn, I remember as a kid, I just thought this was so awesome, but looking back now, I'm very upset that I'm kind of wrong.
Come on, Gandalf.
I do appreciate that the game had its own style and didn't try to copy the movies, which just dominates everything now. The whole game has this weird 2000s fantasy aesthetic to it. Like, you can just tell this is an old game, not only by the graphics, but just the way the characters are designed. The overall presentation of the tale itself is a little bit grim, and actually just has this awesome dark portrayal of the War of the Last Alliance, which I mentioned before, that is freaking sick, and you guys are gonna have to watch again. The Black Riders in this game also look really sick, and if you get caught by one of these guys in the beginning of the game, which happens a lot and can be frustrating, you do get this freaking awesome as hell cutscene. Some of the characters you see do kind of look similar to their like movie counterparts, and some just look so damn random, like freaking Boromir here who looks like a rejected RuneScape character.
I know what I should do, but I'm afraid of doing it.
And yet,
Gimli though, Gimli looks like an absolute fucking chat. I mean, look at this guy. I love Gimli from the films, but damn, this game shows the more epic, serious side of Gimli that I wish the films portrayed more, and I actually really like his design. This is my favorite design of anyone in the game. He looks absolutely awesome.
I will not walk blind like a prisoner. Mine will not serve the enemy.
In terms of the world itself, it's nothing too amazing to look at. There's not really a crazy amount of detail in everything, but definitely is kind of charming being able to run around in this old style of the Shire and in places like Bree and the Mines of Moria. The Shire especially, I don't know why, I just loved exploring Bag End and seeing these locations because you don't often get to explore them, and that's why I actually really like it. You know, I know there's games like Lord of the Rings Online where you can see a lot of iconic locations, but you know, playing it on the PS2, it's kind of cool actually, you know, like especially just running around the Shire and talking to everyone I really liked. I know I'm very biased in this and it doesn't really look that good nowadays, but hey, I still enjoyed walking around a bit. I will admit though, that some of the areas in between the set pieces just look absolutely boring and just confusing to navigate, and I did not have a good time, but hey, Rivendell and Lothlorien were kind of cool, and I did enjoy walking around Moria because it actually felt like a really confusing cavern, so that was kind of cool, whether it was intentional or not. I just love seeing how people interpret the works of Tolkien. You know, there's a lot of random things in this game, but hey, I'll give Fellowship of the Ring props for trying to be its own thing, but the more I see him play this game, the more I just wish it got more time to develop. Speaking of playing the game,
Come on, Gandalf.
the gameplay of Fellowship of the Ring is rough, to say the least. Honestly, it does not hold up even in the slightest. Fellowship of the Ring, I guess you could define as an action puzzle game, but even that is being very, very graceful. You play as 3 characters during this 6-hour game. Frodo, Aragorn, and Gandalf.
I understand. Farewell, Gandalf.
Each character controls a little differently, and they all have their own special thing. You'll switch between these 3 guys during the course of the game, so let's start with Frodo. Frodo. He's pretty much what you would expect. He's not a good fighter, but he's got the ring, which allows him to stealth. You know, most of his segments are just puzzle segments, you know, finding freaking hobbits and doing lever things and all sorts of those classic generic type of things you'd expect. Man, finding the hobbits is literally one of the worst mechanics I've ever done in a game. This shit is tedious and boring, and I never want to find another hobbit in my damn life. And speaking of tedious as well, the stealth segments. Oh boy, the stealth segments. These segments are genuinely bullshit. They're at the beginning of the game where you have to dodge the Black Riders, and if they get you in their line of sight, you are gone. It doesn't matter if you're halfway across the map, they will come and they will find you. And like I said before, it's lucky that the cutscene is so damn rad, because otherwise I'd get so mad. It's just trial and error, throwing rocks to hope they get distracted. Please go away, Mr. Rider. Ah, shit. Frodo is just also very janky to control, and if you get surrounded by enemies, you're basically stuffed, like this time in Mario where I tried to jump past these guys. Frodo is definitely my least favorite, but it did give me something cool. A ladder segment almost as long as Metal Gear Solid.
What happened?
Now, Aragorn, son of Arathorn. He's got a bow and a sword, so at least you can kind of mix up the combat as opposed to Frodo who just gets his ass beat. The thing with Aragorn is though, you don't need to do anything cool, you just need to do two things. Kick the enemy over and stab him. This combo is a true combo, it will literally take out any enemies in the game apart from a couple. The attacking is just so horrifically jank and nothing feels good to pull off even this super basic combo. The swinging on him just feels super uncoordinated, the attacks flail around and just miss constantly, especially the kick, which is your only reliable way to take down enemies, and it's just so bad. I want to feel cool as Aragorn, but I feel like I'm just flailing a fish around, which ironically is the best weapon in the game. Now, Gandalf. Oh dear old Gandalf. Why are you so bloody useless? Old mate Gandalf here has magic. Yes, magic. You think as a wizard he would have magic, and he does. He's got a few spells at his disposal to make life easier. Only problem is, half of them I didn't even use in the damn game. I genuinely can't remember half the spells. The only two I remember is fire and lightning, because fire would just decimate everything and it would just completely negate his sword play, and lightning you have to use for a single boss, which I'll talk about later. So Gandalf is half puzzle, half action. A mix of janky Aragorn and frustrating Frodo is absolutely just terrible. He's not the lesser of two evils, he's the culmination of two evils. Okay, I'm being a little harsh on old Gandalf here. He's okay, I guess. His segments are semi-interesting at least, with him mainly doing a lot of the exploration in Moria, which was kind of cool to explore. I just wish his spells had more impact. I also think he learned his sword skills from Aragorn because he absolutely flings his sword around like a fish as well. These characters all just control so badly. The puzzles are either really tedious or just completely stupid. Like, honestly, the only redeemable thing about the gameplay is just getting to explore these iconic locations, and at least the game isn't brutally difficult, thank goodness. You know, even if you're a big Lord of the Rings fan like me, you're probably not going to have the best time playing this, especially comparing these to the movie tie-in games. They just can't hold a flame to any other Lord of the Rings game on the PS2. But I'm not freaking done yet, because there's a specific section of gameplay I want to talk about, which highlights the problems of this game immensely. And that is...
Come on, Gandalf.
the bosses. The bosses in this game are definitely one of the bosses of all time. These things are just the ultimate level of jank. They have no flow to them, stupidly simple, and are just not fun to play at all. I'm gonna show you a few of them right now. So first, this absolute fucking tree that Frodo has to fight, right? I was specifically told, don't hit the tree, it's gonna kill him. So what the hell do? I don't know, I ran around for like 10 minutes, and then I realized I had to hit the tree's hands. The branches don't count, like, are you shitting me? So you gotta whack this dude off for 5 minutes and then he gets defeated. Finally. But you might think, oh, that's not too bad. You're just dumb as hell and you couldn't figure that out. Okay, check this fight. The Balrog. The motherfucking Balrog of Morgoth. How do you defeat this guy? Perhaps an epic duel? Nope. A janky-ass lightning battle where you only have to press one button. I mean, come on, dude. This is the one part in the game I was really looking forward to, but it was just so shit. At least we got this kind of cool epic scene afterwards.
You cannot pass! Fly, you fools!
Gandalf!
Why does Aragorn have huge... Wait, he's got a different outfit on. He looks so much cooler here. Why isn't he wearing this in the main game? They even messed up the monster in the freaking lake. You know that super tense bit where Gandalf is trying to figure out the word to open the door in Moria and they get attacked by the horrific creature? What do you think the boss fight might be like? Maybe cutting off limbs, dodging, and saving companions? In Fellowship of the Ring, you know what you do? You stand there and shoot your bow for 30 seconds perfectly still. I shit you not. Then it's done. Just give me something, man, please. Like, The only kind of enjoyable boss was fighting off the Black Riders at Rethertop, but even then that was just still full of jank, man. The bosses are just so bad, not fun or interesting, just plain ass bad. I will say though, through my playthrough, I somehow caused a glitch for the final boss, which allowed me to skip the entire second phase. So if anything came out of this that was good, it was discovering a new skip for those speedrunners to use. I dub it the fish skip.
Now, Legolas, finish the foul beast!
Come on, Gandalf.
In freaking conclusion, Fellowship of the Ring was a damn experience for sure. The setting was cool, I mean it's one of Tolkien's epic books, and playing through the game, I could definitely see what they were trying to go for, but it just really sucks because they definitely needed more time, and I bet if they did get that, the game would have at least been a bit more playable. It would have gone from like a 3 out of 10 to maybe a 6 out of 10. It could have been really cool, you know, definitely those pre-rendered cutscenes are really sick, and I wish they had more of those epic parts in the game. Way cleaner gameplay would have been better, and you know, some more detailed places to explore and set pieces could have been really cool, but alas, we have this shell of what could have been. I really wonder, if the Lord of the Rings movies didn't exist, and these guys went on to create the Two Towers and Return of the King game, what would it have been like? Honestly, though, in good faith, I cannot recommend this game to anyone but extreme Lord of the Rings fans or people that just want to play a jank-ass game. Even as a casual Lord of the Rings fan, you honestly probably aren't going to have a good time. If you want to experience this yourself, though, you'll need a PS2 or Xbox. The game is dirt cheap because nobody wants it, and even just boot it up to see the beginning cutscenes or explore the Shire at least, you know, if you're gonna do anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Fellowship of the Ring on the PS2. I can unfortunately say it does not hold up to the memory, but if you're insane like me, maybe give it a shot. I hope you enjoyed this nostalgia trip. If you want to ride shotgun with me again, hit that subscribe and tell me where I should drive to next. I've been your host Squawker, and I gotta remind you to keep shredding. See ya!
So the Fellowship has succeeded. Yet I see the Ring-bearer alone as he crosses into the Dark Land. Yet, not all alone.